All right, guys. So we're looking at what GPT says is a good reporter, a good journalist. Says what makes a good journalist? Well, here are the bullet points. I want to do bullet points because they're faster than reading a whole BBC or NPR or whatever article, and where we're going to agree with most of the stuff, and they're going to be verbose and talk about a lot of stuff and be flowery. Let's not do that. Let's just look at the points. Right now, we're looking at integrity and ethics. Ethical journalism means avoiding conflicts of interest, being transparent about sources, and respecting privacy while still holding the powerful accountable. They operate under a strong code of conduct. All right, so morality informs ethics and integrity. Oh, yeah, I'm not sharing my screen. Uh, Ethics is more like how do we do it in this field, right? So like communication law is like how do we obey the law, ethics and how do we do things morally? And then ethics is, well, how does it normally work and what can people expect? What's the language? And it starts getting into like what's the etiquette of journalism, of reporting, right? And so we have a shared way of communicating so that we're not misunderstanding each other. And so ethics touches on those things too. So ethical journalism means avoiding conflicts of interest. Yes. So that's going to be a hard thing reporting locally because we're going to have conflicts of interest that, and there are ways to deal with these things. We're always going to have conflicts of interest. You're supposed to avoid ones that have a big impact on your life. So if you're reporting on a company that you own half of, um, then you have a conflict of interest, and you probably need to tell somebody else, "Hey, I can't be objective. I need you to look at this." Um, Talk to another journalist and ask for help. Um, I'll show you what I'm looking at here. Being transparent about sources. So you have to be really careful here. Sometimes there are sources that share things with you, and you want to protect that source because they want to say, I don't want to be identified. You're going to get a lot more information if they believe that you will not burn them. If I'm doing research on the sheriff's department, sheriff's office, and I have a deputy who's willing to share information with me, and he says and he believes that I'm not going to tell them who I got it from, then he's going to be way more willing to share it with me. What I can do is use that information to know where to look. I don't have to take that and say an anonymous source said, right? Because that can be a little iffy, and you're reporting and you want the public to believe you. And so if you have anonymous sources all the time, that may not be helpful. But if you take that anonymous source and instead of quoting that anonymous source and say, I'm going to use this, like, how else would I get this information other than the source that gave it to me? I can do a FOIA request, public records, find out, like, ask for information, have them get it to me, and then I can report on that, right? It tells me where to look. But you have to be careful with that. You don't want to be transparent like here are all my sources. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't have that policy. Um, Maybe I'm not thinking of everything, but okay. And respecting privacy while still holding the powerful accountable. Yeah, transparent about sort of respecting privacy of that deputy, like we just talked about, while still holding the powerful accountable. So one other thing too is everybody assumes it's the powerful, the visible, but there are a lot of powerful people who um, they have a loud voice, right? They're powerful. You have to realize who's powerful. They have money, they have influence, they have a big name, a lot of people listen to them. Um, there are a lot of ways to have power. You can buy power, you can pay people. There are a lot of people who think uh, Proposition 1, the ranked choice voting, was from outside money. 80, what, how much? $80 million of outside money coming in. That can buy a lot of people to go out and get signatures so that they can get it on the ballot. It can buy a lot of people. And so, and we saw that it kind of went down pretty hard. It wasn't popular. It didn't get passed. And, um, and so it may be an indication that, yeah, there was a lot of money. Money can be power. People who are, like a, um, Norma Ray, if you guys remember that from, she was like a union person. She was like standing up for the unions because they weren't getting paid enough, and she was powerful. She didn't have money, she had influence, but she was powerful, right? And but the news treated her like she wasn't powerful at all, and we just have to realize she needs to be held accountable too, right? Norma Ray, our beloved Norma Ray, Sally Field, she needs to be held accountable too. And then these we operate under a strong code of conduct. So we're consistent, we think about it, we care about it. All right. Um, the integrity and ethics, and then I think all this is informed by your faith, what you believe about the world, what you believe about eternity. Um, it's all informed by that. All these things are informed by that. So don't lose the plot on right and wrong just because we're looking at ethics, and you can say, well, I can ethically do this when morally you can't do it. And so what we're talking about is aligning all those things so that we can be whole, convinced people. So when we go out there, we're ready to rock. We're ready to ask questions. We're ready to be bold because we know what we're about and we're about the right things. So next time we're going to talk about what clear and effective communication. Yeah, we'll talk about that.